With 301,000 subscribers and almost 172 million views, Vuong, aka RealTDragon, is a successful YouTuber, cosplayer, musician, and content creator extraordinaire. Just really good dude. Yep. So we thought he'd be great to kick off the first official episode of Trendify, the podcast. Why did you want to interview Thien?
Well, there was a lot of different reasons, but one of them was because he's such a great guy, but he's also had such a long career on YouTube where he fully supports himself with his dreams and just kind of does whatever he wants every day. And I think that's inspiring. And I think a lot of people are in jobs that they don't like and don't think there is another way to do what they want to do and still make a living.
That's for sure.
And what did you learn? What were your takeaways from this episode before we reveal it?
My biggest takeaways, Jason, were that one, you really can do whatever you want to do if you just start doing it. You know, I think a lot of people always dream of wanting to do something else or something bigger, something unique, and they just never do it, you know? So I think that every time I hear a story like this, people just started to do whatever they wanted to do right then and there without any other motives besides just doing it. And I definitely think that's Thien's case. And also that you can have the most fun job in the world and do really cool things for a living, but it's all work. Underneath all of that, it's all a lot of hard work, especially if you're doing something on your own and following your passions and your dreams, and you're not just clocking in and clocking out. It takes a lot of discipline and passion. So thanks.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I love this episode. And
Me
I think
too.
you guys will too.
Yeah, so take a look and a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, Vuong.
Hey man, how's it
So
going?
this is our first show. This is Vuong, and he's somebody you have interviewed in the past, but now for the new show, he's our first guest, so we can't wait to get into his story and how creative he's been and all the things that he's got going on. So let's start it off.
Officially my first guest, then.
Yeah.
Oh my
thank
goodness, what an honor.
It's very
I'm
special.
so happy.
Cool. So
then tell us, we want you to start from the very beginning. Tell us, where did you
man.
grow up? Tell us about your childhood.
I grew up in Longview, Texas, and after parents kind of separating and stuff, I went on to live in White Oak, Texas. And it's like East Texas, and it was a really small town with like 400 people in the high school, and everybody knew everybody. I would walk around. My dad was the barber, and so everybody would know me. I would be Todd's son. That's my dad's name, because he cut everybody's hair for really cheap. And we would always be in the barbershop playing like Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64 all the time. That was like my childhood.
That's cool.
A lot of it.
That's cool. So you had a lot of gameplay hours as he was there all day long?
Yeah. And then when we got home, it was like, yo, go to bed. And we're like up, like playing Game Boy Color, and we had the little lights extension, and it like killing the battery. And we're like, oh my gosh, no. My dad would like turn on the light, and we'd be like in the corner, and he's like, what are you doing still up? And we're like, oh, we're just Pokemon, man.
Do you do a lot of gaming now?
I play a fair amount. I played Cyberpunk, 2077? I just played Batman Arkham Knight, and that's an old school one, but my friend recommended it, and I had a lot of fun with it. Played Persona 5. Yeah, I guess I play games a lot. There was a time period between like 16 to like 25 where I didn't play a single game because I thought it was like a waste of time. But then like I burnt myself out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need some creative juices. And so I'm back into playing video games now, and I found like relaxation and just fun in it, you know.
That's awesome. Do you feel like you were always a creative kid?
If I think back, no, not at all. I think I was a hard worker, and I think that's like, if we could play a video game, since we were already talking about that, and kind of relate it back to that simulation, right? I am a character with baseline stats everywhere. I'm complete average, you know, and I just work really hard, and that's because my dad when he was a barber, he also did handyman stuff because he was an immigrant, first gen, and we were the first generation kids of that. And he would take me to houses and paint houses for hours. He would just leave me at a house with my brothers, my two big brothers, and we would paint houses, mow lawns, fix walls, take up carpet, replace carpet, like a lot of really grueling stuff, and I hated it. But at the same time, I want to make my dad proud. And I remember every time, just like when I saw him driving around the corner and he was like, he's bringing in lunch, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna pretend like I'm like painting more, so he like praises me.
Seeing that growing up and seeing how hard he was working, what did you think you wanted to be when you got older?
First thing I wanted to be, I remember, because it was either doctor or like a lawyer, which sucks, but I wanted to be a vet. You know,
I think everybody wanted to be a vet when they were a kid, just because it was just like a cool thing. And archaeologist, I remember just everyone saying that. I was like, I don't even know what an archaeologist is, but that sounds cool.
Yeah, Jurassic Park back then, everybody was like so into dinosaurs. There was dinosaur toys everywhere. Yeah. You know, you had alien dinosaurs. It was so, I remember those days. And then you're like, man, I like animals. I can be a vet.
Yeah, traveling around the world, finding dinosaur bones. How cool could that be?
I'd do that.
Yeah. I'm saying it sounds awesome.
In the heat.
Yeah.
So now, tell the viewers what you do for a living.
I am a YouTube content creator / artist / just person trying to max out all my stats. And I do that every day. I wake up and I work on my fundamental basic, my foundational blocks. You know, it's really interesting because, and I don't want to deep dive into this if you guys don't want to hear it, because I can just tell you, like, I'm just a YouTuber. I make videos online dressed up in cosplays, you know. I keep it simple.
That's amazing.
The crux of the show is just finding, like, what is the base of, like, how do people have careers like that, and what are the building blocks that go into things like that? So we'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think what's interesting is that, you know, you see someone like you today on YouTube, people who follow you, and they have no idea that you're an East Texas boy, right? Who grew up working really hard for his father, and now you're doing something that people just dream. They don't even realize that they can do something like this and make a living and have so much joy in their lives. So that's definitely why you're such an inspiration, and we want to have you on and hear all about that story.
Thank you so much. That's very
cool.
Yeah. You know, I just got an intern recently, and he's been helping me edit videos / be in my videos / shoot the videos. And he kind of says the same thing where it's like, you know, you're like living the dream I want to be. And I was like, man, and his name's Matt, by the way. He's a really great guy. I love him, man.
Yeah, we've seen him in some of your recent videos.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want him to know it's possible too. But YouTube is ever changing. It's like, even right now, I'm like changing my YouTube channel completely. And I'm about to just redo it and do something new, because that's exactly what I've been doing since I started. You know, I started making YouTube videos when I was 16, and I never stopped. And now I'm like 28. And luckily enough, like, I was just so obsessed with it in a way to make something and get views and make people happy through my videos and just share my story. Because really, you know, if you follow my YouTube channel, you see me from becoming a kid to growing up and becoming like a young adult. And it's kind of crazy. I don't know.
I love that about YouTube. I love that YouTube will show you where people started, because, you know, so many times you see people at the peak of their careers and their success, and it seems so far away. It seems like a distant thing. But if you can really show people where you started and the work that went into it and just the consistency, I think that's really helpful for young people and all people, really.
I agree.
So tell us why. What made you want to start a YouTube channel?
So originally I made music, and I played guitar, and I was, you know, singing in my church and stuff like that. And my brother gave me a camera to, you know, record and stuff. And so I dropped the guitar and I dropped all of that stuff, and I was like, yo, this video camera does fun stuff. And so my brother at that time, when I was 16, he was like 21, and he made a clothing company called Loyal K&G. And I basically ran the video production side. He was like, here's a camera. We're going to go to events, sneaker conventions, dance shows, car export shows, workout conventions, and we're going to do videos there because we already have a booth selling t-shirts. So just to help cross promote / absorb the culture that's going on right now, we're going to video capture it, and I want you to edit and shoot these videos. And so I did that for years, and I did it for free because I was a kid and I was just learning, and it was a great experience. And around that same time, since I had a camera, I'd already watched like hours and hours of YouTubers. I was like, let me try this, because I know how to edit, and I just want to be a YouTuber.
So did you grow up in the YouTube generation? Like when you were 16 and how long was YouTube around? Was that what you were watching as a kid?
Well, I watched TV shows. It was before streaming and everything. I graduated 2012. So that might give you a frame of like what the timeline was back then. But I remember I still had a Sony Ericsson. It wasn't even iPhones weren't really out, and I was watching like cartoon shows on TV. I would watch a lot of like anime on Toonami, just all kinds of whatever was on Nickelodeon, SpongeBob a lot, and I would just kind of sit down and watch it. And YouTube was along with that because it was my computer. I got a computer, right? And when you spend hours on the computer, you gotta go to YouTube, right? There's nothing else to do.
Right. And so how long did it take you to kind of build your channel and do it before you really started to see like, oh, I could monetize and I could actually make a living from this?
It took me 5 years. Yeah, good 5 years. I remember my first year, and like it took me 3 years to even like understand what I was even doing, because back then like I didn't have a goal specifically. I was just like making random videos, going crazy. But I went to my first anime convention / Comic-Con, and it was Acon 21 or something like that in Dallas, Texas. Really, it's like one of the biggest anime conventions in Texas. And we stopped by there for a day because we were going to a sneaker show, right, in another state, and we just had to stop by Dallas along the way. And so we're there for a day, and it changed my life like majorly, man. There was people who like watched anime and watched comic book shows, and they liked Marvel movies. They liked dressing up, and I was like, I've always seen pictures online, but I never knew it was real, man. And I became friends with everybody so instantly. It's like we all had this language that we talked and understood, and we could like connect with each other in a way I never had growing up with some of my friends in Texas, because it was like just like a little southern town where everybody goes to the river and shoot guns and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what's so amazing about the internet and social media and YouTube is that you can find communities of people that are passionate about the same things as you and find your tribe. It's so much easier now than it was if you didn't have that and you're growing up in this small town saying, am I weird? Like, am I the only one that likes this stuff? Like, why doesn't other people like it?
Right. It was like a mistake. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah.
So why after that convention, so that was like the pivotal moment in your life, did you go home and you were instantly like, Spider-Man, I'm going to be Spider-Man, I'm going to do this? Tell us your thought process afterwards.
It was funny because I made a video. In fact, it's on my YouTube channel of like my first con ever, and I just spent the day there. And I made the video, and it became one of my more viewed video on my channel. And so from then on, like I was like, let's go to more, let's do more, let's shoot more videos here and sell clothes and stuff. And my brother agreed, and so he started selling like T-shirts of his brand and stuff at Comic-Cons and anime convention, and it did pretty well because we had like graphic tees of just like nerdy designs. It's back in the day when you used to have a logo and flip it with like The Simpsons or something, or like Akira the anime, or like Okami the video game, and we would just make our logo but with that brand, or that company. And I went to a lot of anime conventions and Comic-Cons, and it wasn't until I went to like probably my 20th or 50th con where like I met up with my friend. His name's MeMug713 on YouTube, and he was dressed up as Spider-Man. Yeah, shout out to him. It really started with that because I went to all these cons, but I never could afford a cosplay, so I just kind of like just filmed them and just hung out with them and did like little lip sync videos to Disney songs. I know, really corny. I was a kid, and I filmed him running around as Spider-Man anyway, MeMug713, and the story, man. I released the video, it got 1 million views, and it blew my mind. I was like, whoa. And then I hit up a company. I was like, yo, I need a suit, man, and got a suit and pursued that. And made it work because I had no other option. really.
So wait, but the company just gifted you a suit?
Well,
Like,
it's brand sponsorship. You know, I had around 20,000 subscribers back then, and I got like probably like 1 million views per month. And so I let them know the numbers, and I was like, hey, if you'd like to work together, I would love to. I love your suits. You guys are the best. And, you know, just like put that icing on the case for them, you know?
yeah,
that's so cool.
absolutely. What
And,
came
so they
first?
provided it.
What came
Which one
first?
do you-
The views? When you hit 1 million views and then the subscribers, or
Definitely. Yeah, definitely
Yeah?
the views. Yeah.
so
and
what
then
was the first
subscribers
thing on
came
your
later.
mind? Were you already ready to monetize and just waiting
Yeah.
for, or tell us
I
about
was
that day when
monetized
you hit
back
1 million? You what?
Do I even remember it? I don't know. It's been so long. I think I was just really happy and I wanted to do more. I mean, if anything, if you saw my action after that point, I traveled like I think I was 21 or something, and for 2 years or 3 years, I traveled America and went to every single anime Comic-Con convention there was and met thousands of people, made friends all across the country, and made hundreds of videos of me as Spider-Man or me in different kinds of cosplays and people in their cosplays, and I did group gathering videos of like there's a Naruto cosplay group or there's like a One Piece cosplay group, and I would do a solo video about that and try to incorporate Spider-Man or something in there if I wanted to, because that was like the only cosplay I had.
Was that your favorite
yeah.
character too, or is that the one that they offered to give you?
No, that was I wanted that one straight up. There's
Yeah?
a reason I picked. You know, like when I saw Meme, I was like, "You're Spider-Man, bro. Let me do that." There's a picture of me like as a kid as Spider-Man. You know, like all these other creators, like where they have like a picture of them as a kid. I love Spider-Man like my entire life. Tobey Maguire. I went to the Tobey Maguire movie premiere, Sam Raimi's movie 1, 2, and 3, midnight premiere back when they did those things. I was with my brother, and so like I knew the character very well.
Is your brother still involved with your channel and all of your aspirations? He seems really entrepreneurial as well.
Right. We stopped being as much involved after I moved to Atlanta. And so I remember there was a moment where I was like, I can't do what I want to do, what I dream of, unless I move. And back then, I was making like $500 a month off YouTube monetization. I was still living with my parents, and I was depressed, like 23, hadn't done much. I have a few videos with Spider-Man that like have some views, but like, what is the future? You know, I can't keep going to cons around the country and figuring this out. And so me and him had a long talk where I kind of had to convince him that like I need to go off on my own and I need to find myself in Atlanta and I need to be independent and discover, because I feel like out of all the, and I chose Atlanta because I travel across America, and that was the place where I knew it had a really great, wholesome, like cosplay group of people, you know, and also that's when Marvel was filming there and all this stuff too, and I was like, oh, dude, that's so fun. I just want to be in that energy, man. And so I made the move, and that's when my life really changed, because I started making videos with a group of Spider-Man cosplayers, and we made this series called The Spider-Verse. Before the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie came out, we didn't even know about that. We were already making our own Spider-Verse thing because we read the comics. And
Right.
man, that shot my channel up from like, I think I had 50 to 70,000 subscribers before I moved to Atlanta, and now I'm at 300,000 like a couple years later. So
That's
that was
incredible.
a big, like, yeah, that's what connected everything.
And what was the moment where, I guess a couple moments, did you know going in when you were doing the videos with your brother that you could even make money with YouTube, or had monetization even happened? And then when you got that first one, was it like, oh wow, this is actually something you can make money with?
I think I always knew you can make money because other YouTubers are doing it. I didn't think about it though. I just wanted to go viral. I think that's all I ever thought about. Like, how do I get trending? How do I go viral? How do I get on Trendify? And
then
it was
when
just
you
me
started
trying to do that all the time, yeah.
And then when was the moment that it shifted to being able to just fully support yourself in everything you wanted to do?
I would say a year into living in Atlanta, because that's when I found the right people. Because I moved to Atlanta, and the first year was really just me connecting all the dots, figuring out where I could shoot videos. I lived in a crappy apartment, so I didn't even have like a like a studio like I do now, where we can just meet up and shoot a bunch of videos. So I found them and we released a couple videos, and I worked with a studio called Third Eye Collective downtown Atlanta. Dude, they are amazing. They are a music producing studio. They work with Lil Yachty and a lot of different artists, well known, and they let me shoot there because I was helping them as a videographer a little bit. And yeah, I made a handful of Spider-Verse videos because I met a guy at the gym that knew my videos, and he was like, "Yo, man, let's I have a Spider-Man group. Y'all want to do videos?" I was like, "Yo, I got a Spider-Man channel. Let's do this." And that was like a good 2 years of us just meeting up like every month to shoot a video and putting it out. And then, you know, I had con videos too, so I would, in the meanwhile, go to cons and make videos there and then release that. And that really was when my channel jumped from getting like $500 a month to like 1,000 plus, 2,000, 3,000, you know. And I was like, dang, oh my God. But then, you know, it's always fluctuates. So like, you know, things go up and down, and, you know, things that worked in the past don't exactly work now. So I'm kind of adjusting my channel again because the pandemic had a big hit on me and just what I'm doing as a creator. But it's cool.
So tell us about that. You mentioned about adjusting your channel. What are your future plans?
I want to do more. I want to spread it half and half. You know, I'm going to do more like talking videos, kind of similar to this, where I'm just conversating, talking about a subject. I think I already shot a couple videos and I'm just still editing them, but this is trend right now called Iceberg Explained. And so I'm doing an iceberg on like Spider-Man. I'm doing one on like, what was it, Invincible, that new show that came out on Amazon. And basically an iceberg video, if you didn't know, is
I don't know. Tell me.
You see the surface of the iceberg right here, right? And it's things people generally know. It's the Easter egg. It's like, oh yeah, Stanley pops up in every movie. Oh yeah, Spider-Man has 3 different actors, you know, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. But the deeper you go down into that iceberg, which is the 90% of the iceberg, by the way, it gets darker, more creepy, more like weird, cryptic Easter eggs, and you kind of just explain every one. And so that's a really great practice just to like learn how to read and like talk and kind of like interact with the camera and the audience at the same time. It's really fun to figure out how hard that is. It's not easy.
It really is.
Yeah, I saw one of yours recently about WandaVision and the things that are wrong with the show, or I can't remember exactly what the title was, but I see that you're shifting into that. Is it going to remain kind of in that Marvel superhero universe, or do you have other ideas too that you want to incorporate?
It probably will. I'd like to branch out to like anime and etc., but it really depends on if it gets traction. You know, I know the way my channel is already like stabilized on the like whole comic book Marvel niche, and I'm not trying to mess that up. I love comic books, you know, I watch all the shows, so you know, I would probably go into gaming or anime, like, and maybe icebergs on those and see how they do, you know. YouTube's really interesting right now, you know. It's like you can have as many subs as you want, but you might not get the views, and you can have a lot of views, but you might not get the subs. It's a lot about watch time. There's so much that goes into it. I feel less encouraged to encourage people to do it nowadays than I used to, because it really is like a big bite. It's a big, like, there's a big learning curve, and you can kind of skip it all if like you know exactly what you're doing, but you really do have to know exactly what you're doing and know the type of video you're going to make and make it just about that one thing. And I think a lot of creators struggle with the problem is that, you know, they have like their passions, what they really want to do, and then they have the audience and what they want, and finding the balance in between. And like, but the thing is, if you make something just for the audience, like that'll hit, and then they can't help but connect to you, hopefully, you know. But the thing is, once you make something that the audience doesn't want, for example, you know, a comic book channel releases something about anime, that's like cheating the audience in a way. And if they're not interested and they just won't watch what you make, and then all of a sudden your channel isn't recommended by the YouTube algorithm anymore. They're like, oh, they didn't watch this one video of yours. Why are they going to watch the rest? And it's like, no, that's just, I tried something different, you know? So I've been juggling a lot with that recently in the past couple months. But, you know, it's worth it. You know, I've been able to save enough to be like, I want to really push and do what I want to do for a year at least. And if that works out, it works out. If it doesn't, then like, back to the drawing board. You know?
That sounds
I'll
like,
upwards,
Exactly. That sounds a lot like, the plight of any artist, right? Like we start doing something because we love it and that's who we are and that's what we're about. We're passionate about it. And then we learn that we can make a living and be a professional artist. Mm-hmm. And so then that's when the struggle comes in of, okay, well, this is what I want to do, but this is what my audience wants. And, how do we stay relevant and how do we stay lucrative and yet still be in love with our jobs and the reason why we've done this in the first place, right? So I think we all go through that until we just have to hit our heads hard enough to be like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I love again. Let me just go back to the basics and like let's just see if this works because I think happiness is what it's all about in the first place,
Yeah, you can define that yourself. I feel like I've had a lot of people between the years of me doing the Spider-Man, Spider-Verse stuff being like, well, are you going to do this your whole life? Are you going to like just keep on making these videos? Like, what is the thing? It's like, bro, I think the way past generations have thought and the traditions they've held are all like societal things that they've grown up and like been brainwashed to learn. Like we can live differently. We can have fun our whole life. We don't have to be limited by the way that someone else thinks. You read a philosophy book. Like you define your life. Right. You don't have to let other people dictate what you want to do.
Amen.
I
That's
love
right.
It. How was that early in your career when you started shifting and people were, you were in your early 20s and everyone probably that maybe you went to school with is getting jobs in various careers and then they're asking you what you do. How was that period?
It's so funny because I'll talk to them sometime and they'll be like, how are you doing? And I'll be like, bro, I'm living the dream. I like literally live the dream. I don't know. I don't want to like sugarcoat it. I'm like, I was the one who spent countless hours, thousands and thousands of hours hitting like the hammer on the floor trying to make this nail go in, you know what I mean? And, it was a lot of hard work and it worked, and if I had anything to impart, it's that like, if you're going to spend your whole life working on something, a degree or, a job or money, like, or art, like, you're going to fail either way. Like, if I would have became a doctor, I would have failed and, like, did terrible, but eventually met my goal in, like, 10 years, right? Same thing with YouTube. I failed for 10 years, and I'm still failing, but at least I'm going up. It's weird. That's why I like this term of, like, failing upwards. It's like you keep doing things, they keep going wrong, but, like, hey, at least, like, I can grab a little bit higher, I guess, and just pull myself up a little bit higher. And it's like that with anything you go out and pursue. You guys as actors and artists and creators, like you guys are learning it too, and just like figuring out the flaws, what you can work on, and how to get better. I'm sure you guys have your own story to tell about that too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I think it's just we call it failing so much, but to me, it's inevitable. It's learning. It's like you make a mistake. Oh, I'm gonna learn from that, and then I do. Maybe I don't make that same mistake, hopefully, but then I just move up a little bit to make another mistake. It's just the way we learn. Like if I wanted to be miserable, that's what I think about a lot with the plight of the artist. When I get all wrapped up in like, well, this is what they want, this is what I'm supposed to do. If that was the case, I might as well just be working a 9-to-5, making some like good stable income. So
that's always an option, and that's the thing.
Exactly.
It's like even if I fail, I guess I'll just go back to college. I don't know. Like, is it that bad?
Yeah,
get a 9-to-5 job.
I think sometimes people do that because they care and they don't know any other way. Like I've had friends that are very close to me that, years ago would say, when are you going to just finally get a real job? And I'm like, never. Like, I don't know.
Because you seem so happy, right? Like, I don't, yeah. But so do you think, obviously it really impacted you in a certain way, watching your father work so hard, being a child of an immigrant as well, you know, just watching that and then growing up in such a small town, I can really relate to all of those things. What was it? Was it always something inside of you that said, I'm not, this isn't going to be my path or my life? Or were you kind of like, I guess I'm gonna, and then I stumbled into something?
You know, I stumbled into it. I'll be honest, like I was a really good kid. You know, I didn't ever do anything bad. Like I didn't do drugs or anything. I was kind of almost straight A. You know, I graduated number 13 in my class, and I like did all the AP courses. I wanted to make my dad proud. I think I just wanted to make my dad proud my way. I didn't want to do it his way. You know, and I got there. You know, so if anything, it was a challenge, and I went full throttles. And I think, you know, my dad, he's kind of been supportive the whole, you know, most of the time, but always lets me know the option of doctor or going to college, you know, is always
Still?
there. You know, of reminder. Oh yeah. And it's like we're teasing each other now, you know, we're like, you know, like best friends just teasing each other. Like, oh yeah, sure. I'll go. Maybe. I didn't drop out. I didn't tell you about that.
Right.
I went to college for a couple of years, but I dropped out. So
Maybe you could just be like a Doctor Strange character and say, Dad, I made it.
Right. That's what I always said that to my parents, because they were always like, you need to be a lawyer. You need to be a lawyer. I'm just like, I'm just going to act like a lawyer on TV. You know, I don't want to do all the paperwork. Just
right. It's like, I want to do it, but I want to do it like, have fun with it. Just like avoid the stress and the, you know, the mental strain of being a lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, just to kind of get a little more tangible on the financial side, how does a creator make money? Like, how does that even happen?
So there's a lot of different ways. First off is probably, you know, AdSense. So you get the amount of views you get, and they show ads to the people who view your videos. So like, let's say 1,000 views is like $1, and CPM is click per whatever, can be different. So like, if you have a finance channel, that per view thing could be like 8 cents. So like 1,000 views could be like $8, you know, versus $1. But depending on the content you make, I make like nerdy content that's not really related to any like products or things. It should be, because cosplay is big, but not as much as like, if you want to talk about money makes money, right?
Right.
In real estate, any of those things. But that's the beauty of YouTube. You can do everything. And so, yeah, that's one way you can make money, is AdSense through views. The next way is sponsorships, products. And so, for example, if I want to cosplay and a company hits me up and they're like, hey, we want you to review our cosplay. We'll pay you X amount of dollars to make a video about it. Just do a skit about it and then talk about it, plug it in your video. And, you know, you get this amount. And we're like, cool, good to go, you know? And so that's another way. And that can be like, you know, if you have a channel that does gadgets, you know, maybe there's like an app out for a game and they want you to review the app, you know. Lots. You see it on every YouTube video nowadays. People always have something. Dollar Shave Club, I always see that one. Let's see, what else? Working with different companies for different projects. So right now I'm working with this company in China, and they want me to be a content creator for them over there. And there's a X amount of dollars that comes with like how much the channel grows on their end in that country, but it's kind of up in the random air. But you can work with different companies like that. So like I'm working with that one, and I'm working with another one called Komoto. Basically, Komoto is similar to Fiverr or any kind of learning program, where like you make a set of videos that kind of tell how you make videos, or how you be something, or how you approach things as an artist. And the more views that gets, you know, through this other outlet, like you can get paid through doing something like that. And I've seen a couple people do tutorials online, basically make a course, because they've learned so much in 10 years and make money through that. I think one of the smartest ways to make money online is, what's it called? E-commerce, like electronic things, because they're infinite and there's no garage or base where you have to like have product and mail it out. You know, Printful is great because you can make money also through like selling shirts and stuff. But if you can make a product like a CD with music on it and sell it for $10, but like just have like the electronic copy, like that's infinite. You can make whatever you want, and it's just great.
Digital templates and yeah,
we're very familiar with that.
So is it pretty transparent, you know, how you get paid, like working with a company in China or this other one where, you know, it's all kind of like, is it transparent how much you're getting paid?
We sign contracts. We sign contracts and we go back and forth, you know, and you just have to be honest with each other. You know, it's never stressful. I mean, you just have to be stern about what you want, you know, and not be afraid to ask what you deserve, you know. I mean, people will always your whole life try to like have one up on you, and sometimes it's okay to let that happen. Sometimes you have to stand your ground. You know?
I just want to say hashtag blockchain right now.
Yo, man, cryptocurrency.
That's right. Gonna make a RealTDragon NFT.
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
All of your
I don't really know anything about NFTs. I know about crypto.
How, as far as your video process goes, like, can you tell us a little bit about like how you come up with the ideas, how long they take to film, the editing process?
Oh man, I consume a lot of content, man. I'm watching YouTube videos all day. So I'll just like consume a video and be like, how can I approach that kind of video, but from my channel's perspective? Or how can I make this video, but my way? And so I'll do that sometimes. Or sometimes me and my intern will just sit down and we'll just sit in silence for like 30 minutes and come up with nothing. You know, just whatever happens. I think, so we shot this little series. It's going to come out like next month called Off-Brand Heroes. And basically we're revisiting, like, we're dressed up as all these heroes, but like, we're not them. We're just like off-brand versions, you know? So like instead of Batman, I'm like an Asian fruit Batman, and it's just terrible, you know? It's so bad and funny and comedic. And that kind of just came together because I was just trying to write a funny little skit. And then I just slowly added on, well, we have these cosplays that are, you know, we can use. So how can we remix these cosplays? And so I wrote the script out. I was like, it has to be an A, B, C, D. You know, it's like, so get the cosplays. You know, we join up together, become friends. You know, we get mad at each other. I don't know. You know, that's not what happened, but like that could be an example.
Right.
And then we'll go out and shoot it. Yeah, conflict. You know.
Yeah.
And are these scripts fully fleshed out, or is it just kind of bullet points, like everyone meets here and then this thing happens? And
this one was. It depends on who I'm working with. If I know I'm working with people who aren't actors, then I keep it bullet point. If I'm working with people who are experienced and can like handle it, then I'll write out like a pretty fleshed out script of like even word for word. But I'll keep it like you don't have to say it like that. You just have to say it like similar. Keep the beats.
Right.
Like the scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
smart. And do you edit all of your projects? Tell us the whole workflow that you have going on.
I do edit a lot of them, but my intern actually has been editing like all of the ones that
Man,
you've probably
good for
seen on my
you.
channel. The last 10 of them, like I was like, oh my gosh, it's really great. I'm paying him, by the way, so like, you know, he's earning, right? And he's learning a lot too, man. He's getting really good at it. I'm really proud of him. He's doing a great job. But yeah, before then, I made thousands of videos on my own. When it comes to editing, I'm like a master. Like I edit things literally in 2x speed. So like I'll go to the speed dial and I'll make everything like 200%, and I'll just like, I know that's like sound effects, but like literally that's how fast my mind is running. I've done this 1,000 times. I know exactly where this can go. This is good. This is bad. Bop, 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 you know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And when you're in your filming process, do you have anything you use as little tricks to flag what you're going to use later, or do you just keep them? I mean, obviously a full day at a con, how do you boil that down to a 5 or 10 minute video?
Oh man, that's something worth experimenting for, because like it's all on the idea. If you have a really solid idea and you can do it in one shot and make it easier, then it's that easy. But if you want to make like a little compilation with you and a bunch of different cosplayers doing little things throughout the whole con, like that, I would say 120 clips it's like a 4 or 5 minute video. Or 8 minute video, 5 to 8 minute video, if you really want to stretch it out. And I've just learned that through shooting the videos, you know. I mean, 60 can do it. 60 can do it too, but that's like 3 or 4 minutes. And nowadays you want to make longer videos for YouTube specifically. You know, they're trying to reach out to. I think because, you know, you have apps, rest in peace Vine, but TikTok, you know, that comes out and they're really focused on short-term views. And so YouTube's trying to just do the other end of that.
Long form.
Long form. Because people, like, it's undeniable. People aren't getting dish anymore. They're not getting cable anymore.
Right.
Nobody even has a landline. You know what I mean? Nobody has a phone at their home. They just use a cell phone. It's kind of funny, but they're just knowing that those views have to go somewhere, and every smart TV has YouTube now, you know? And so I think they're gauging on just people watching for long durations. And the thing is, the longer you can make your video, once it hits the 10-minute mark and after, you can put as many ads as you want in the video. You can have like 100 ads in there and just like make people really mad. You know what I mean?
You could have as many as you want.
Yeah.
What do you watch? Is it mainly YouTube still, or are there other streaming services that you subscribe to? I'm just curious, kind of your perspective of what's entertainment.
Or social media even.
Yeah, I watch YouTube really. I really wish I could get into TikTok, but I just can't. I watch it and like it kind of gives me a headache because it's so fast. I think it's hard for me to like just absorb anything because it's just like done. And so I really stick on YouTube. I watch too many like videos about just how to do things and learn things and get better at things. I'm learning like 3D, Unreal Engine, Blender just for fun right now. And it's just, I just find things to invest my time in. A lot of music stuff. I watch Crunchyroll and Funimation for anime, you know? That's my entertainment. Amazon, Netflix, you know, we were watching Community last night because Office is gone and Community is really funny, you know? Abed, Troy.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know that you also have a music channel. So is there, I know we talked briefly earlier about how if you make a video that is kind of counterintuitive to what you've been doing in the Marvel universe and things, that it may have an adverse effect on your channel. Is that why you created a separate music channel?
Yeah, I wanted it separate because it really is a different entity in me, myself, you know, like my RealTDragon version of myself is not my music version of myself, and it's going to be telling different stories. And if I do release music on RealTDragon, it's going to be something in that realm where it has to be relatable in some way, you know? And so I just wanted to keep it separate. It was better to organize, and I think it would just be too different. And also I didn't want it to just connect. It doesn't make sense, you know? It's different stories, you know? And so like I think of each one like as a book. You know, this is the book of me making music. This is the book of me making music. It's just going to stay there. And maybe it can branch out, but you know, I think my goal from the end of the year, and kind of why I'm changing my channel up, is that I want everything to connect. And right now, this is the problem with niches a lot of the times, especially if you take away the you and you focus on what the audience wants, the community, is that there's no conversion there, or there's less conversion than like, you know, someone who's just like, it's all personality based. And so I'm trying to adjust my channel to connect all the dots. So like, oh, this person does this, you know, and I like him because he talks about this, you know, and he does this, versus just like, I like it for this one reason, you know, I like it for Black Panther, I like it for Spider-Man, you know, and try to branch out. Just for fun, let's see if it works.
No, I think that's great. I know that with YouTube, consistency is a big deal for your channels and for your viewers, right? Like it kind of jars them and takes them back, or you get way less views if one day you're Spider-Man and the next day you're doing your music, right? Because they come to your channel to see that one thing. Yeah.
It's really more YouTube than the audience too. YouTube has the algorithm system. It's all ran by robots, right? And so like if they notice not every one of your videos is hidden like it should, then they're like you're down a notch, you know? And it's unavoidable. It's and this is why it's harder for I think creators to start now. I mean, it's easier at the same time, because if you can make that content and make one go really well and keep creating that, then you'll have success. It's a great part-time job, but it's a lot of work, and you really have to think about it nowadays. Like before it was like more like spitballing, and now it's really like a business. It's so professional. It's so, yeah, it's just you have to have a plan.
Do you wake up every day? You said you do a video every day, or are you working on a video? How frequently do you put out, and like what is a normal day like for you at the office?
So we make batches of videos. So we'll plan out like 4 or 5 videos, and we'll go shoot them all and make them for a week. And that way for the rest of the month, we don't have to worry about making a video. We can maybe focus on that one video we really want to like do well, or like it's our passion project. For example, for me, like I think I made like, before the pandemic hit, I made like 50 videos, and they were all stacked and they were ready to release. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm good for like the year, right? And So then I just focused on making music back then, isolating myself, quarantining, and taking courses and classes on random things, and all the way up until now. And I think that's my biggest happiness that comes from YouTube, is just like the freedom of choice, the freedom to do what I want to do every day, to be able to just be like, hey, I am going to just watch anime.
And not feel guilty about it.
Good about it.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the worst thing about being a YouTuber professionally?
It's only good things.
You're making it seem really good right now.
Oh, it is. It is. There is a target on your back sometimes, I guess. You have to be able to read red flags. People will get close to you for certain reasons, and when they figure out how it really is, all of a sudden they don't want to they're like, oh, well, never mind, and then you thought you had a friendship, but you didn't. That's happened a lot. People will stab you in the back because they know you're famous. Even if you're not, like, I don't even consider myself like notoriable or anything. I think I'm just a dude. But like, people, when they see the numbers, they can't help but think that, you know what I mean? And then it becomes a power play. But YouTube in itself, that's just people, right? But YouTube in itself, only good things have happened. I've had so many opportunities. The amount of times I've made good relationships and friendship versus the amount of time they went wrong is just like way like. They don't even scale, it's like one thing's is like literally a point, not even a 1%, but it's like a point, like 0.1%, and one's like the other side of it, everybody's like so positive. I think the great thing about YouTube and TikTok or these communities is you really build a community of people that are into what you're into, and they're like friends. So like if I go to a con, anime or comic cons, I'm just hanging out with a bunch of friends. Then they know me, and I'm pretty open, I'm pretty personable. So like I'll just go up and make friends and just be like, yo, what's up? What are you up to? And just vibe really well. It in every way, YouTube has made me a better person and a better artist, because I've had to challenge myself to get really good at something, or it wouldn't get viewed. Learn how to tell stories better, learn how to be a better actor, learn how to sing, learn how to play guitar, learn how to make a better cosplay, So it's great. It's great.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
I didn't mention earlier your music channel. What is the name of that channel?
Oh, it's called Torrent X for the time.
Torrent X. Okay. So we'll put a link in the show notes for that too, so people can check it out. And what?
Oh, thank you.
Did you call it? What was the name of the type of music? Was it ether? Not ether. Ethereum. Vapor punk. Is that
Ethereum.
Yeah.
It's like vapor punk. It's lo-fi, chill wave.
Vapor punk. Yeah, man, that's cool.
It sounds cool,
loved
right?
it. I loved it. So, what are your plans for your music,
dude? So the thing is, right now, like, and this is why I'm really happy. This is why YouTube is even better, by the way, because of YouTube, I can afford to pay for classes now. Like before, I was broke as a kid. Like my dad wouldn't put me in any kind of class or anything like that outside of public school. And so now I'm in vocal classes. I'm doing piano classes and guitar classes through Zoom and stuff. And like I'm like reaching heights I never knew existed, because I'm learning the right way, and I didn't know there was such a big difference from teaching yourself. But there's a
huge difference. I want your guitar, if you like them, if you would recommend them, I'd like your guitar Zoom teacher, because I'm looking for a new teacher, and I want to do the online, because I think it would just give me so much more of a broader choice, option for coaching.
I have one, and I will let you know.
Yeah,
after everything.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
So as we're wrapping up here in a little bit, what advice would you have if somebody's like, for example, your intern or somebody who's coming to this and they want to create full time? I know my nephew, when I ask him what he wants to be, he says a YouTuber, and he doesn't know how many channels he even wants. He has so many ideas. So what advice would you have to somebody that wants to start what you're doing?
There are two words that have been my anthem recently: undeniable and connection. You have to connect to your audience. You really do. And you have to be able to communicate with them and what they want, and them to see you, give ideas that they want to hear and share thoughts, and really
How do you do that?
Really build you do that by making something that they can relate to. There's a reason we all I go to an anime convention and I connect with everybody because we all like anime. So if you are into gaming, you can make something about games and explore a specific one thing, I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy VII, this one game, and explore something about that, you know, or I'm going to do a cosplay about Cloud from Final Fantasy VII and do something about that and make that into a video. You know, it's unlimited. You know, you could even make a, you know, oh, I'm going to decorate my GameCube to look like a Final Fantasy GameCube, but it never came out, but I'm going to paint it and make it look like YouTube. You can do anything, right? But just, yeah. And I think that's how you connect. You make something about something you care about, you're passionate about, and people will connect with that if you learn how to communicate that. And that's, you got to learn that through trial and error, unfortunately, and it's going to take a while. Be patient with yourself. And then that goes in the next word. It's undeniable. You have to just be undeniable. People have to see you for the real you. You know, they have to like just take it in and know that there's a quality there. You know, even there are bad videos on YouTube, but these people have so many views, so many subscribers, but it's because like they are undeniable. So like believe in yourself, you know, and just know that you got it. You know, you just have to learn how to communicate that, you know, and keep working on it. Don't ever stop. Like, if you really want to do it, like, just don't quit. Don't quit, you know?
I think that's such an advantage too with a platform like YouTube or even social media, is that we don't have to guess so much. Like your fans and your followers, they will communicate with you and they will let you know what they want. They provide a lot of open feedback.
100%. You just be like, yo, leave a comment. And they do. They're like, yo, man, you did this wrong. I'm like, whoops, sorry.
How do you deal with, I guess, another follow-up question? Because a lot of people hold themselves back. I've been definitely challenged by that, holding themselves back because of what you may hear or the negative feedback or just perspective of yourself or insecurities. How do you deal with all that?
This is more internal. Like for me particularly, how I deal with it is that I just don't really care that much, because you can't. The only thing you have control of in your life is you and the decisions you make and the actions you make, but you cannot predict what people will do with that. You know, people will do good things and get flamed for it, and people will do bad things and get cheered for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, and you just have to be able to ignore the fuzz, you know, and that's really hard to do.
What do you do? What are your like healthy ways of when you know you have to ignore something or move on from some type of negativity? What are your tools that you use?
You know, I hate to say this, but I probably escape, man. I kind of run away. No, I don't run away, but like if there's a toxic relationship, I don't mind cutting it off.
Oh, period. Yeah. Well, that's good.
And getting done with it, or like right then and there. You know what I mean?
So do you feel like you just don't look at the comments, or you see something and you just, do you erase it? Do you?
Yeah, I'll delete it sometimes. Just because like sometimes I'll make a video and people will say bad things about the people in it, not me, you know? And I'm just like, hey man, you know, that's not cool. And it's not like a critique. It's just like a straight up like roast. And it's like, dude, that's like insensitive. I'm not going to allow that on my channel. So it's just going to happen. That's one of those things that you cannot stop. Just be prepared for it. And whether you make good or bad content, like everybody's just like a second away from getting canceled.
Right.
You know, for some reason. But I'll say this, dude, if you just don't give up, even if that happens, I've seen people like rise above and like, you know, and just make great videos, you know, and their fans come back, you know. People are just like, dang, man, no one else is making videos like you, so I'm going to watch it. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. I have a very important question before we wrap up. Is that Nick Cage on that pillow?
Yeah.
You're just listening to the audio. It's a beautiful Nick Cage sparkle pillow.
It's like one of those reversible, if you like flip it down, you flip it up.
This is my girlfriend's story. She kind of let me have it in my room because all that.
That's
He
awesome.
is a very funny guy. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, that's all the questions I have. I wanted to thank Thien Vuong for coming on the show, and aka RealTDragon, aka Torrent X. How can people find your channels, or where would you like to direct people to find more about you?
You can Google RealTDragon, and if you want to find my music, it'll be linked, right?
Yeah, I'll put a link too.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you just find my Instagram, I usually have like a link tree to everything. So just at RealTDragon, RealTDragon, and I pop up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing the show, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Dude,
That was
I
great.
had fun. It was cool. Thank you guys so much. It was an honor.